All right, guys, this is an interesting topic that we're going to talk about today. I know normally everything I've done is lighthearted, and I mean this to be somewhat lighthearted too. And I normally don't have any paper in front of me. I've got some paper today. Maybe I'm not super prepared. Maybe I should be better prepared. I don't know, but I just want this to come off the right way. This podcast or discussion, we can call it, is really everything to do with the Beaver mayoral election coming up, and it's on Tuesday, correct?
Tuesday, May 20th. Yeah.
Tuesday. So this podcast is not to support one candidate over another. The purpose is to just raise awareness about the election itself. I believe that most people are not involved with what's going on at the local meetings, and they only trouble themselves when they have personal issues that come up. I can say myself, over the last few years, I've had two issues. I've gone to the meetings. I was successful once. I was unsuccessful on the other. But I will tell you, no matter what, I did get a chance to speak. And that's what I think is important about our town. Yes, we always want to get our way, but maybe I wasn't meant to get my way. The other thing is, too, I believe both candidates are good people. And I didn't like what I was seeing on Facebook, even though this is going to go on Facebook. But I didn't like what I was seeing in the comments, and I don't think a lot of these comments were coming from the candidates themselves. It's people that support the candidates. And I guess that's great in a way, because there's people that do feel passionate. And I think both candidates are passionate people. They're both Beaver people, and they intend to do the right thing, what they feel is the right thing. Tom Hamilton is not here. I did talk to him. He just didn't feel comfortable with doing it. I totally understand. We had great conversations. He actually sent me a message and wished us good luck for going on. And I actually sent him all the questions that I'm going to ask Lincoln, that I sent to Lincoln yesterday. I sent both of you the same questions. And Tom approved the questions. He actually said he thought they were good questions. So we wish you were here, Tom, but we totally understand. And we're just trying to get people aware when they go and vote on Tuesday. So I would like you to introduce yourself, if we could start that way.
Sure. So my name is Lincoln Kretschmar, and I am running for mayor of Beaver. And I own Kretschmar's Bakery in Beaver, so I'm a business owner. And I'm happy to be here. And I wish Tom the best, and want to wish him good luck and in the election on Tuesday. And I'm ready for your first question.
All right. Now, so these questions may seem silly, but I've listened to a bunch of people in this town talk, and I realize a lot of us don't really understand what goes on here. So, what does a mayor actually do?
That's a great question, because a lot of people don't know what the mayor actually does.
What does a mayor do?
So, the mayor does actually have quite a bit of authority. One of the things that the mayor is able to do is, should the council pass an ordinance, the mayor actually has the ability to veto that ordinance. And so the council then has 10 days to respond to the veto. They have to get a vote of, I believe, a supermajority, which would be, rather than 5-6, and then they can override the veto of the mayor. The mayor is also responsible in emergency situations, so he can set a curfew, he can clear crowds, that kind of thing, cordon off areas of the town from public access. And so, along with those things, a big thing is being able to attend council meetings and actually speak at the council meetings. So as a member of the public, they have a public section where you get a limited amount of time to talk. The mayor actually is able to report and also to comment on different issues and advocate for things and whatnot during council meetings. So that's a big thing for me that I'd like to be able to do.
In Beaver, what does the mayor do?
It's the same no matter what municipality you're in Pennsylvania. The municipal code, Title 8, describes how our local government runs. And so the Beaver mayor is no different than other mayors and the other municipalities around this. That said, some of the other duties that the mayor has, I can actually marry people. So, yeah, if you want to get married or renew your vows, should I win in the election or whatnot. And I think Tom has actually done a number of weddings.
That really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so,
okay.
that's one of the things. And then finally, the mayor is also the head law enforcement person in the town. So that person is actually in control of the police department as well.
Okay.
Those are the main responsibilities that the mayor has. Yeah. Oh, and I did forget, tie breaking. Should the council actually vote and only have 8 members and it ends up in a tie or whatnot, the mayor can break a tie.
So that was my next question. Do mayors vote at the meetings?
So the only time that the mayor is actually allowed to vote would be where there is a tie, and that can be
Okay.
on any issue, from budget to putting in a stop sign to whatever. But it has to be a tie. So the mayor is not a normal voting member of the council.
Okay. So when we talk about council, the board members,
Mhm.
are they your staff? Do they listen to you? Are you just a more powerful board member? Where do they fall in with you? Because I
Sure.
think a lot of people are confused about this.
So you can actually look at the federal level, and it's very similar to the federal level from the standpoint that the mayor is sort of like the president, and then you have the Congress, right? You got the legislators, and they're going to be the council. And so it's actually 2 equal branches of government. So the mayor doesn't oversee the council, and the council doesn't oversee the mayor. They're equal in authority, I guess is the way to put it. And so the council doesn't work for the mayor, and the mayor doesn't work for council. And the mayor can't be a council member, and a council member can't hold the title of mayor either.
Okay.
So it's mutually exclusive.
That makes sense. How long is a term for a mayor?
Sure.
In Beaver?
Just like the president, it's 4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
Okay. How about a board member?
So the council members also serve 4-year terms.
Okay. Are they staggered, or is everybody up for election right now?
So it is staggered so that you always have some remnant of the old council on council. So there's this continuity to the council. And so yes, it is staggered.
So right now we have how many board member seats that are coming open? Do you know?
Yes. So we've got basically 5 council seats. So Alex Sebastian Jr. Resigned his position in midterm.
Okay.
So there actually are 2 seats open in Ward 2. But one of them is a 2-year term, the other is a 4-year term.
Okay, replacing his.
Right. My sister is running for the 4-year term. The other candidates, I believe, were running for both. But in any case, we got 2 people in Ward 1 that are, there are 2 seats open in Ward 1, 2 seats open in Ward 2, and then 2 seats open in Ward 3.
All right, another dumb question. Where are these wards? How many wards are there?
Sure. Yeah. So there are 3 wards to our municipality, to the borough. So unlike cities.
By the way, I might know that some of these answers.
Yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
as stupid,
Yeah.
but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You're good at playing dumb, right?
Yes, I'm really good at playing dumb.
So yeah, the Ward 1 ends roughly along Beaver Street. So from Beaver Street down to Bridgewater is Ward 1. Ward 2 is from Beaver Street over to Dreveau, and then from Dreveau on is going to be Ward 3.
Okay. All right. And how many people in each ward?
So it's supposed to be somewhat of an equal split, but it isn't really. I think Ward 2 has the most.
Okay.
And I think it's just because of the density of like King Beaver apartments and that kind of thing.
Okay.
And so Ward 2 is, I think the highest density. That said, a lot of people know by their polling place, right? So
Yes,
if you're,
that's how I know.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're in Ward 3, you'd be
go to
voting
fire
at the fire station.
Yes.
Ward 2 votes at King Beaver,
Okay.
and Ward 1 votes at the borough.
Okay. All right. If you were to become mayor, do you have a first goal?
I do.
So what would be that first goal?
So one of the things that my slate of candidates is running on is transparency. And so one of the first things I'd like to do as mayor, and should we get more people on to council, is actually put the council meetings online. It's the 21st century. There's no reason we can't actually have, a online recording, even possibly string it live, during council meetings, and have that, for posterity's sake as well. I think it's important. You get to see the people that you've elected and how they act and what issues they bring up, what questions they ask. I think it's really great for transparency. And so that'll be one thing that I'd like to.
So that doesn't happen now. Right now, the only way to know what happens is read minutes
Well, and even then,
and attend.
And even then, the minutes are sanitized, right? I mean, so if somebody speaks for 3 minutes, that gets turned into 2 sentences, right? And so, long and short of it, it's a very sanitized version of what happens during the council meetings. And so, having that council meeting available live or recorded for posterity, I think is a great thing. And then also, I was going to establish a social media presence for the office of mayor. So that would be the other thing I'd like to do, is to be able to disseminate information that is going on relevant to town through a mayoral.
That sounds all fair. That sounds. All right, here's a tough one.
Okay.
What does a mayor make in Beaver?
Nothing, actually.
Really?
It's an unpaid position. So here's the thing: anybody that runs for council, it's a volunteer position. They've got to be doing it for the right reasons, from the standpoint that they're unpaid jobs, right? And so
actually, I did not know that.
Yeah. So the mayor.
I actually thought the mayor did get some sort of salary.
So the mayor can get a salary, but it is limited. So I think, it's limited to 4,000. Beaver doesn't actually have a salary, but what I think Beaver does have, and might be fact checked on this, is I can spend up to 4,000 something in expenses. So if I need to hire a lawyer because I have a conflict with the council or whatnot, I can spend up to 4,000.
But expenses, but that's not.
That's not a salary.
It's not a salary.
That's not a check cut to me.
No. That's fair, and you should have. I would see the need sometimes for legal counsel. Definitely. Okay. All right. Well, that's a lot of people. That was actually a question. A lot of people in Beaver thought people got paid. They don't get paid. All right. What a glorious job. All right. Now, I did talk to Tom about this, and Tom, do you believe that parties have a place in local politics in towns and boroughs?
I really don't.
Okay.
I think it's one of those things where it doesn't matter where an idea comes from or an issue comes from. It doesn't matter what letters next to your name. It really comes down to does that idea or issue have merit? How do we find a solution to that issue? How do we find the best solution to that issue? And so it wouldn't matter to me what letter was next to the person's name if I were mayor and they're bringing me an issue. I'm not asking people what their party is before government looks to help them.
And I will tell you, that was one thing that I strongly agree with you, and I strongly agree with Tom. Tom was the same way. Tom was saying, hey, I thought people did this. We got the best person. Not because they were affiliated with any party or a group. And I think that that's important at the local level too. So,
very much so.
Maybe the three of us are in a minority,
might be,
and nobody cares what I think. But I am glad to hear you both say that same thing. I know that sounds.
Yeah, Tom and I definitely have that in common.
Yes, that I'm glad. All right. Now I think I know how you're going to answer this, but I need to ask this.
Okay.
Are you willing to be open-minded to the opposition's plans? When I say that, do you have time to ever, as mayor, for people to present ideas, present things, and you get a chance to sleep on them and not just have a reaction right then and there to vote on it? So, do you know where I'm kind of go with this? So people are open-minded, because I know a lot of times I may be against something, but maybe just getting to sleep on it, I go, maybe they're right.
Well, so here's the thing. When it comes to actual ordinances and issues that the town needs to solve, that's really going to fall to council. Once again, so I don't see this whole idea of opposition or whatnot. I think it goes back to the ideas that, or the idea that issues and ideas, the merit of the idea or issue should be looked at. Not, and so I guess when you say given time to think about those ideas or issues, that would be on council to sort of have the time to reflect on, say, this budget issue or that budget issue, or recreational items or whatever. And so hopefully they're being presented with the information ahead of time before they're asked to vote on things in the council the meetings themselves. And I don't know if that is occurring. I think it is, but I'm not privy to that. As for oppositional positions and whatnot, I don't know how much. What I've witnessed in the council meetings that I've attended, there's very little back and forth. That's a lot of rubber stamping. I hate to say it. That there isn't a whole lot of discussion. There isn't a whole lot of debate.
That's what I mean. I'm wondering, are people changing their minds? Are they saying, hey, are you willing to be like, hey, I really think this way, but maybe you don't have all the information, you get it, and are you going to be willing to say, you know what, Joe might be right, Pat might be right?
Personally, that's how I operate.
Okay.
That said, when it comes to our current government, is that how they operate? That's a good question.
Next question. What qualifies you to be Beaver's mayor?
Oh, sure, yeah. So I came back to Western Pennsylvania in 2003, and since day one, I think the first week I was back, I joined the Beaver Area Chamber of Commerce. I served on that board for 17 years, held positions such as vice president, president. I was treasurer for 5 years, and so I've always been a community servant. One of the other organizations that I joined was the Beaver County Educational Trust, and I served on their board for 13 years, I think. In the last 5, I've served as the treasurer, but I've also held vice president and secretary positions in that organization. Helped the soccer, the Central Valley Youth Soccer, was on their board for a number of years. And so, I've got a true commitment to helping out in the community, a lot of community experience, and then obviously running a bakery. I mean, I've got 30 employees. That's given me a lot of experience, and so I think I'm well equipped to handle the authority and the job duties of the mayor.
Okay, all right. Talking about Facebook. What misconceptions of your candidacy are out there and you would like to correct? I personally, I don't even understand everything that's on Facebook. I just know right now that people aren't standing up, sitting down. I don't even know what people are fighting about, and I don't even know if it's really you and Tom. I think it's just a bunch of other people, but what misconceptions are out there that you would like to correct?
So, to be honest, I don't want to get into the weeds of social media. I mean, there's too much misinformation out there. And so the whole idea of, for those that think that, I would jeopardize the security or safety of, the town where I live, where my family lives, where we walk the town every day with our dog, where my kids go to school, where I have a business, where I have, friends and neighbors, that I would jeopardize their security or their safety in any way, I think is true misinformation.
Okay, so you're talking about the information I've heard about the police. That's what you're talking about, where people were talking about defunding or doing things like that. That's there's no way I would harm jeopardize any of that. Okay, all right. If you become mayor, what do you see different from today in 4 years of Beaver?
Well, I think it depends on who wins, right?
Well, no, if you win. Let's say you win.
All right, so if we win, I will say that you'll see greater transparency, you'll see more fiscal responsibility, and so hopefully some of the things that have not been getting attention will start to get attention in the means of funds directed that direction, those directions. And so long and short of it, I think we will be on an upswing if we get these people in. So myself, like I said, I'll be able to access the information that's available, and I'll be able to disseminate that information, bring more transparency, and then the council members that I'm hoping that are running with me, will definitely aid in that, and also the fiscal responsibility side of it. We'll hopefully be able to reprioritize things in such a fashion that some things that have been lacking will start getting some attention.
But we're never going to lose something like Light Up Night in this town, right?
Well, okay, so if you want to talk about Light Up Night, that was actually a Beaver Area Chamber of Commerce event, right?
Really?
Oh, yeah. And so
well,
we funded
so
that.
they're the ones that we should that have brought that to us.
Oh, yeah. And
okay,
so,
probably one of the greatest best thing that's ever happened to this town.
Yeah, so
I think so.
So one of the big things for the Beaver Area Chamber of Commerce is the events, right? And so, like I said, I served on the board for 17 years, and events were always a big part of that organization. And so, Light at Night was obviously our biggest event, and I don't certainly want to see that go away. And I don't know that I left the board at the end of 2019, and so I don't know for the last couple of years who's actually been running the show. But yeah, I'd hate to see that go as well.
Okay, all right, that's all right. Now this question is very important, and I know you can get a 20-year-old to vote for you on this one.
Nice.
Okay. My daughter. What can be done about the skunks?
Well, honestly,
this sounds crazy.
Have you ever been sprayed?
Our dog has been sprayed. If he does not get sprayed at least 3 times a year, I don't know what to tell you.
And see, that's just, if you've got a nice porch or whatnot, and it's got a few cracks in the underside or
Yes,
whatnot,
yes.
you've got skunks.
Yes.
And so, yeah,
Not to joke about this, but I actually think this is a little bit of a problem.
Oh
here.
yeah, and it's been a problem forever. I
Yes.
mean, when I was in high school, we had skunks.
Yes.
I mean, and
So this will make my 20-year-old daughter very happy.
Excellent. So I could possibly win a vote here. Okay. Excellent. So in any case, my dog's actually been sprayed. The thing is, obviously it comes down to budget, right? And looking at the budget and finding the money to have skunk removal. That's something that we, lost, due to the huge budget hole that we have. I mean, they've spent large amounts of money on things people didn't want, and that money could have been well spent other places.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
I know it's a silly question. I make the light of it, but
I hate to say it, but I too want to know how we're supposed to handle this because
well, my point really is when I ask that silly question is older people go to the town meetings.
Mhm.
Okay. A lot of older people read the minutes. So I'm going to say there's probably about 100 people that really are knowing what's paying attention.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. However, my daughter's 20 years old and she can vote.
Oh yeah.
And people do care about other things.
Yes.
And that is actually getting outside of just what happens in those meetings. You'd be surprised. There's not just 100 people going to vote on Tuesday. There's more. So I know I'm making a joke of this, but I guess what I'm saying is to anybody that's running for these things, everybody needs to start appealing to more than just those 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
Because running the town is one thing, but running for an election is something else. And we need to know what's going on. That's the whole idea about this whole idea.
And that's
of
why
doing
transparency is part of our platform, right? We want to have informed citizens in Beaver. We function better as a government, we function better as a town when people know what's going on.
There is one thing I can tell you. Ignorance can also mean something else. Now, this is just my opinion. It can also mean people are content.
Yeah.
And they're not getting themselves involved because they don't feel a need to get involved.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people, it's when someone gets upset, that's when they get involved. That's normally what happens.
Sure.
I know as we get older that some of us still start to find, maybe we should be giving back. Maybe we should be doing those things. And I'm thinking maybe that's where you are in your life and where Tom's been Tom's been the mayor for a long time, and I know he was working under Lynn, I believe, before then. Is that correct?
I can't verify that.
He was friends with Lynn or something like that.
He took over after Lynn.
Yes.
Yeah, and so he was. So when somebody leaves a position, such as through a death or whatnot, the council then appoints somebody to that position.
And that's how that happened.
And that's how that happened. So Tom got appointed, I believe, and then he would have to run for election the next cycle.
So maybe, the one good thing about Beaver is a lot of people are in general happy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They are. So, and, it's when people get involved, sometimes it's just because they're angry. And we hope it's for just other reasons too. And maybe maybe people will be called to these situations, or we just try to keep on making people happy.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything else that you'd like to add, Lincoln?
There are a lot of great things that are going on in Beaver, and you know the slate of candidates that I'm running with just wants to make it better, and as do I. And so I would like to give them a shout out if I could. So in Ward 1, we've got Bill Egley and Rebecca Beam, and in Ward 3 is Rebecca Beam and Bill Egley. In Ward 1 is Ron Stidman and Margaret McCain, and obviously my sister in Ward 2.
Ward 2. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. And their election also will be
Yes.
all on Tuesday.
Everybody's getting voted for on Tuesday.
All right. And we will see you at the.
You'll see me at the polls. I'll be bouncing around since I have to go to all three.
Yes.
I may not be at the poll when you get there. And so, but I will be making the rounds.
Okay. Yeah. Well, hey guys, thank you for doing this. Everybody, like I said, I hope you understand this is not supporting one person, one or the other. It's just, hey, I wanted you to get a chance to raise some awareness to this election and see what this town is about and what it could be about. Or if you're content with the way things are going. But thank you very much.